you're a Christian, which I am, a Christian with a little c, because the early founding fathers never capitalized the word Christian.
Randolph family.
Did you know that all of the founding fathers were homeschooled?
Yes.
Did you know that?
They were indeed.
I was aware of that.
Think about that. Did you know that all of the Virginian founding fathers were only gospel Christians? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Didn't even read the end time stuff, the Old Testament.
They started the Protestant Reformation in
Thomas
Alabama.
Jefferson was a born-again Christian the last, 7 or so years of his life.
Jefferson Bible.
Did you know he was corresponding with Adams in Massachusetts?
I did.
That he took the New Testament and the Gospels and was trying to find out everything that Christ did. And I believe he was murdered.
I do too. Wasn't
And
the first
I
time they
believe
tried.
It had something to do with this Admiral Levy, who took a mortgage on his house so that he could build the University of Virginia, so that he could take and get his papers, his correspondence with Adams. I believe it was, now I'm the only one you will have ever heard this theory from. My undergraduate degree is in Virginia history.
Okay, so the University of Virginia was founded by Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Money that he obtained by working in his house.
From a Kabbalist by the name of Admiral Levy.
Levy. Okay.
Now, I know that...
it is an interesting theory.
Of course it is. Dare to think, dare to theorize, dare to use the hypothesis, to come out with a thesis.
Now, Levy, you mentioned he's a Kabbalist.
Yes, and a Mason.
Like a descendant of the Illuminati.
Of course.
Sounds like LeVay.
So
and a weapons dealer and a reserve military officer.
Even way back then.
They were doing... Now, think about this.
What they're doing today, they've been doing for...
Of course. Think about this. John Paul Jones. Supposedly the founder of our Navy, was a criminal. Why would they twist it like that? He was also a Kabbalist, also a Mason. He and Lafayette was a weapons merchant.
Well, isn't that
They
interesting?
raise up some people who are sort of questionable.
Lafayette was good friends with Thomas Jefferson.
I know for a fact that Jefferson became a Christian.
So maybe Jefferson was compromised.
He did not necessarily believe in the divinity of Jesus Christ. So maybe you could say he's not technically a Christian, but he said, I'm a Christian. He was working towards, he was going to Baptist churches. He was contributing to the American Bible Society. Do you hear this?
No, of course not.
Jefferson was a born-again Christian who was searching for truth, who was murdered, I believe.
Okay, guys, I've already talked about this on the channel, that Thomas Jefferson was looking for stuff. He was looking for the Tartars, and he was looking for these Native American tribes who were here, what he said, before the Jews, is the way that they were explaining it, is that he was looking to see if they had any of their ritualistic practices. And he was trying to determine who these people were. The other thing is that Meriwether was a trusted associate and a family member. And that's why he sent Meriwether with the Louisiana expedition. So I'm going to have to go back and look at the stuff with him and Lafayette. So I wonder if Jefferson was in the club and then he decided he didn't want to be in the club. I think that might be the case. And John Randolph of Roanoke and Thomas Jefferson had a falling out. So this just proves my theory that all of my family members were taken out, all of them.
And at the same day he was murdered, so was Adams.
Yes, they both died on July 4th. Isn't that interesting? 7 plus 4 is 11, guys. It was a ritualistic killing.
Think about this. July the 4th.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
You're being a Virginian and a
Descendant of James
and a
Madison.
student of Virginia's history. Somebody like yourself could dig this out and would dig this out. It would be germane to you, whereas who else would it even be important?
Yes, I was, God and my Christ had put me in the most amazing places.
She's the
and
13th
you would not
archetype
even
here,
believe.
guys.
When I studied at the University of Edinburgh, I received a grant in
She's President Madison's
1978 to
bloodline.
work on Lord Dunmore's papers.
Oh,
Lord
Dunmore.
Dunmore was the last royal governor of
Yeah, he
Virginia.
was a real piece of work. Lord Dunmore is the one I think that had Peyton Randolph killed.
I was invited by the current then Lord Dunmore, Johnny Dunmore, to work on the Dunmore papers. No one but John Selby has done any work on Dunmore. So I stayed with, I'm not going to mention too much because I don't, but the point is, I know a lot about the triangular trade, what was going on in Bermuda.
A triangular trade for our viewers.
The triangular trade is the illegal weapons, drug trade
John Hancock, anyone? Huh?
that is still going on today. Israel is basically running it with the New York bankers.
Hear that?
It has something to do with Kabbalism because the Pentagon, the symbol for the Pentagon, the Brotherhood, they feel so compelled to not think for themselves, to sort of depend on somebody else who's more physics oriented, In other words, these guys are so much smarter than I am. They can be doing totally immoral things that, are breaking up families, breaking up, wives. In other words, they're not looking at the structure of the family. They're not looking at the structure of society. They're not looking at the culture, the community, the basic ingredient that provides life, the planet, the trees. They're not looking at anything.
Right, they don't care.
Sex. And when one perverts and twists, in other words, one focuses on, yes, sex is wonderful, it's great. I'm a, great proponent. But there's so much of a focus by this group on sex. And the military, they go back to Greek days and they have all these symbols of, the Washington Monument is supposed to be a phallic symbol, They say, well, this proves, because the Greeks were doing it, the Egyptians were doing it, and it's this secret little group that was, back in the days of Nefertiti
Cicero effect.
and Mark Antony, and it just proves that we're just great because we have the Holy Roman Empire.
Well, what I understand from the other realms is that Nefertiti she was part of these breeding programs, but they were supposed to be bringing back codes. But Nefertiti was with her sister wife. She was bisexual. They were only bred with Akhenaten for children, but she was gay. She was with her sister wife. That was her couple. So they did all kind of stuff. They were very fluid.
Alexander the Great was homosexual, and Catherine the Great was, But it's debauchery. The thing that one has to realize is that God knows best. It is an abomination. It is a sin. Now, we've all sinned. We're all sinners. I don't believe we should be putting people on the state for doing this. I think God